Everyone. Hope everyone can see and hear us well. Today we have OpenDAX production live session. My name is Alexander. I'm product manager of OpenDAX. I will start with a kind of general presentation. After that, we will have a short Q&A session for the product. You will be able to ask your questions. After that, we will show you demo deployment of OpenDAX platform. After that, you will be able to ask your technical questions. We will show you also how to configure your platform using Wizard. And at the end, we will have just a general Q&A session if you are curious about some stuff or just vision and so on. I will start with OpenDAX. As you know, OpenDAX is a key product of Openware, and Openware is a part of Yellow Corporation. And it's a main product at the moment, which is suitable for creating your own crypto exchanges, like fintech business related to blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and so on. And recently, as you know, like more than a year, Openware and Yellow were merged, and we changed vision and targets for our OpenDAX product. As you know, right now we are releasing OpenDAX V4. Previously, we had OpenDAX V3, and now it's two separate products that are built using different technologies and that are consist of different components. If you want to start your platform like OpenDAX, you can go to openware.com, and there is a button Start Exchange that will guide you through the whole process, how you can order and request some support from our partners. So we have partners that can help you with technical stuff, like deploying, configuring your system, helping you with the design, like full cycle. A bit about new version of OpenDAX. It's completely rewritten stack. We used latest technologies in terms of front end. We also rebuilt our backend part that includes everything in Phoenix. Previously, probably you have heard that we've been using PTO, open source matching engine, and Barong microservice that we built ourselves to manage users. Right now, we kind of rebuild everything in Go, because previously it was Ruby on Rails, to have a better performance. You can ask why we are building this V4, why we wouldn't continue with V3. I can explain you. We had lots of requests, feedback from leads, customers, and we see that generally on the market, the main demand is liquidity and ability to easily maintain your platform. So V3 was a bit difficult to maintain. You had a lot of heavy components that you need to monitor, check if everything was working good, follow the updates, latest releases. What we trying to do with V4, we trying to make it smaller, more performant, easy to maintain, and to bring better way how to connect liquidity. So when we merged with Yellow, vision for OpenDAX changed in order to achieve those targets, to make it accessible for every level of brokers, like even small one. What we change in OpenDAX, we completely rework our financial flow, how we deposit and how we withdraw funds. Previously, we had a similar approach as the majority exchanges do right now. When we create user deposit address for each specific user deposit funds to this address, We check the balance of this address, we update balances. After that, we have complex collection mechanism where we need to collect those funds to one of our system wallets. And almost the same process we would have for withdrawal. And it's a bit complicated one because you have a lot of points where it can fail. Before we reward it to kind of to support smart contracts deposits. What we built, we made OpenDAX custody contract that actually responsible for collecting deposits and processing withdrawals. And when you want to deposit, you just need to deposit from your own wallet. When you want to withdraw, you can withdraw only to your personal wallet. It's kind of downside, but it reduces the load on the system. It improves, I would say, process. You don't need lots of managers maintaining deposit, checking if it's deposited or not, because everything is handled by the specific smart contract. So it pretty simplifies. As you know, also we had registration with MetaMask, but based on the recent feedback from our community and leads, we decided to put more kind of known way to authorize using email, but we still keep MetaMask as the tool to link your wallet, to do deposits, like to do all the financial transactions. So I think in the future, when MetaMask will become even more mainstream, we will also have the ability to register with MetaMask. But at the moment, we decided that it's a bit early for such a move. Also, OpenDAX is becoming part of the global vision that we are trying to build. So we want to build a network of exchanges that can share liquidity, that can access it at different sources. At the moment, almost every blockchain, every centralized exchange kind of blocking liquidity that exists on the market. And it's not so good for the development of this industry for this specific domain. And we are trying to unlock this using unified protocol. And OpenDAX will be one of the first products to support this yellow network protocol that enables sharing liquidity. Later, we want to introduce this protocol where every exchange, every centralized, even non-OpenDAX exchange will be able to join this network and to have kind of default integration, just a small business step, I would say. You wouldn't need any technical stuff to integrate. You just need to put your kind of API keys, send a request to your counterparty, do all the required things, and establish connection, and you can trade. And OpenDAX is just kind of enabler at this stage to show that our idea, our vision is kind of something that we can implement that can bring benefit generally for the industry. And as you see, we changed our architecture, we rebuilt the system, and now I will present you a short presentation about our product. As you can see here, it's a general concept how we built our OpenDAX. We are using Phoenix engine. We are using Next.js for our front end. We introduced gRPC additionally to WebSockets that we have in our system. We did integration with MetaMask. Also in future, we are planning to bring custodial providers. I want to mention, so everyone please pay attention, that it's not the final state where OpenDAX will be. It's a developing product, it's live, and we evolving it. So what I'm showing you right now, it's not the final step where we will sit and don't move forward. We have a roadmap, but it adjusts based on the requirements, based on the situation. But still, the vision is the same: to unlock liquidity, to unify, and make it affordable to wider audience. here you can see more detailed architecture of OpenDAX, where we showing that you can deploy it on different hosting providers, even using our own bare metal. Also, we support deployment using Kubernetes. We have also Packer images where you can use it to deploy it in your VM directly from specific cloud provider. Here in gray area, you can see main backend components responsible for the logic of our product. It's OpenPhoenix that handles all financial transactions, handles also matching part, and everything related to deposits withdrawals. You can also see that we have smart contract parts. This part will be responsible also to connect, for connecting with other nodes. It's not just for depositing withdrawing, it's also for establishing connection with other brokers in the yellow network. So you see, we are not just building protocol that exists in the air. It's a protocol that will be also based on the blockchain, but without building new blockchain. So we are using security of blockchain and introducing the scalability of off-chain protocols. Also, we use Conf for authorization, gRPC for microservice communication. FrontDAX is a new front end that we built specifically for V4. That it's more lighter, easy to customize. We built also a library, web SDK, that you can use and customize your product as you want. You can add your custom widgets. As you know, previously we had Tower, but right now we also rebuilding admin panel. And at the moment we have only low-level administration panel that kind of exists in Supabase Studio. So we are using Supabase Studio as the main admin management tool at the moment. But our plan is to migrate essential functionality in our new customly built admin panel. Here you can see that you can have configured UI. You also can build templates. You have widgets, you have connections with the WebSocket, gRPC, and so on. So it's a pretty good tool to customize and see kind of what you can have at the end with the using like unified library. Here you can see kind of the global vision for our company. Where are we aiming? We want to build ecosystem that unifies and connects all the participants in the network. You can see there are different blockchains, like different layers of blockchains. You also can see different centralized exchanges that can communicate and can connect off-chain, relying on blockchain infrastructure. So you can see that we will be able to aggregate orders from connected books. We have this as a layer 3, so it's not a blockchain layer 1 or layer 2. It's a protocol that serves for layer 3. It's kind of non-custodial because you're putting your funds in a smart contract that protects funds from stalling. So there is a mechanism how funds can be unlocked. And we are trying to unify multiple chains. So at the moment, OpenDAX supports only Ethereum. Next stage, we want to introduce multiple chains, but EVM compatible chains. And the third step for us would be to bring unification for non-EVM blockchains like Bitcoin, other custom blockchains that are from like top 10 coin market cap, but it will require, of course, time. Maybe integration of custody will happen earlier, but our vision that we do it gradually, step by step. At the moment, from my side, that's all. I think we can do a short Q&A session about product if we have some interesting questions, and we will switch to the deployment phase of our live session.
Okay, thank you so much, Alexandre, for this great presentation. So we'll answer some questions, and then the rest of them will we will come back to them in the end of the stream, and we will do like a wider Q&A session. So let me address some questions from Peter. So will you add a connector for the yellow network for OpenDAX V2 and V3?
I think, yeah, we will add them when it will be ready for non-OpenDAX exchanges. Because right now, what we are building, everything kind of fitting V4. But the next phase is to introduce other exchanges, non-OpenDAX exchanges. So it means that even old versions should be able to connect.
Okay. Then Finex is not OpenDAX again. And the next one is, how is the yellow network handling custody and clearing of digital assets?
First, about Phoenix is not OpenDAX. Phoenix is a part of OpenDAX. Phoenix is a main component responsible for financial transactions, for handling matching, writing it to the database. So Phoenix is a kind of replacement for PTO, and now it's even bigger in terms that we putting new functionality also in Phoenix. Yeah, the next question, please.
All right. Protocol over blockchain. Can you please like briefly explain it again? I guess it's
So we have smart contracts that contains the main logic that deployed on specific blockchain, and we have kind of off-chain logic instruction how to communicate between different brokers. Similar concept as a Lightning Network. So you deposit something, you have your off-chain transactions without any limitation in fees or speed, just technically your hardware limitation. And when you want just to finalize something, you put this back in the blockchain. Lightning Network is, I would say, is a simple concept because it's a payment channels, payment communication. Our case is more advanced as we have orders, we have more kind of requirements to the protocol. So if you want to understand it better, you can read, start reading about state channels. You can check Lightning Network, and after that, you can check check Yellow Network to understand it better.
Yeah, actually, you can find all the links on our Twitter pages in the description of YouTube channel, and we will also add them in the description of this stream. I'm also sharing the links to more details about the OpenDAX in the chat from time to time. And let's come back to the question about how we handle custody and clearing of digital assets. I believe we can like clarify it a bit more.
Yeah. So at the moment, we are finalizing our architecture for Yellow Network. So it's not defined 100%. It can be adjusted by, but I can kind of give you kind of idea of what we want to build. We want to have custody for collateral on the blockchain. So, for example, it will be Polygon or Ethereum. Collateral is stored in a specific smart contract. Both participants can trade. And when they finish trading, like every day, they will need to settle what they owe to counterparty. When the settlement happens successfully, everything goes good, they can unlock their collateral back. If something will go wrong, we will have a case how to solve disputes, we will have like system of fines if someone is not delivering because he don't want to deliver something that he sold at the cheaper price. So we will have additional mechanism how to protect um, participants in the network. But general idea is idea of collateral. When you lock in something, you do your activities. If everything goes good, you just settle and receive your collateral back.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question: can I build a decentralized exchange like DYDX using your platform?
Um, I I'm not sure because the DYDX has infrastructure on the blockchain. I think they have much more smart contracts that we are using at the moment. Like you will need more advanced logic putting on the blockchain, and it creates kind of potential security holes. So you should be very careful deploying something and building. That's why we also kind of a bit late, if I can say like this, with the yellow network, because we always research, we trying to find the best way how to secure it. We do our internal security testing if everything works fine. So I wouldn't recommend to do it alone. Maybe better to contact us through the Openware form that you can find on openware.com, and we will find you a partner that can support you with this idea.
Great. And actually, but you mentioned the smart contracts. There's a question about whether it's possible to see the custody smart contract source code.
Uh, I'm not sure if we open sourcing it at the moment because it's too risky. We're working hard, developing something new. Someone can install it and do the same network. So I think we will open source this when we will be ready with the network. Of course, we will do a security audit. We will show it to main kind of participants, but we don't plan it to do it like very quickly.
Okay, I guess with that said, we can move on to
Yeah.
the next of our stream, and the rest of the questions will be answered later on.
Okay, so we're on. Let's do the deployment part. So let me share my screen. So yeah, just a reminder for our product compared to V0, V1, V2, V3. Now we're providing two ways to pretty straightforward. The first one is by using VM images that we distribute for GCP, and the other one is directly to Kubernetes by means of Helm charts. And Helm is basically a package manager for Kubernetes, so it really makes a lot of sense to go this way. Right now, we're going to cover the GCP installation steps. It's all available on docs.openware.com, both the UI installation path to install it from the Cloud Console on Google and the CLI installation path. So I really invite you to check it out. We've put a lot of love into this guide, and overall, it covers every detail you may need. And now we're going to do it live. So let's start with the UI part. So to start, you only need to get a Google Cloud project that has B1 enabled. Apart from that, you should just go to the Compute Engine page, put create instance. Then you should name your instance somehow, and then put all the preferred regions, zones, and so on. So here we'll call it Docs demo. Can do UI 0, something like that, since this one would be installed from the UI. Then we select the region. I'll go with something in Europe. We select the machine type. So here, really, the selection is up to you. Overall, it depends on the load that you expect from the platform. I would say E2 Medium is really a bare minimum, really to a point that if you put some load on it, it may not be enough, because this is basically one shared physical core. And to imagine how many things we're starting on this VM just with one CPU, it's I would say kind of tricky. So I would really advise going either with E2 standard 2 or E2 standard 4 for staging or user acceptance testing environments. And for something like production, I would go with beefier ones. Though, really, for performance, I think your bottleneck would mostly be the dead weight. So I would suggest to go just with E2 standard 4 because I like them bigger, but normally with E2 standard 2 you would also net plausible results. Then after that, let's select our image. So here, when installing from the UI, due to some Google Cloud peculiarities, you need to have this image published to your project by our team. So for that, I think you should just get in touch with us, and we'll gladly upload it to your Google Cloud project. And miraculously, for the CLI installation path, you don't really need to have the image imported into your project. You can install it directly. So that's how it goes in Google. But anyway, here, let's imagine that the image has already been shared. Here we go with a simple formula. So OpenDAX, then the version, and then the custody mode, the network, let's say, which we're going to use. So OpenDAX 4.0.17. And for the actual version, you can always check the changelog on our website in the release notes. And then we select either demo, which is basically obviously demonstration mode. So here you would not really be doing anything on the blockchain itself, maybe just deploying the contract. But then this is all overall suitable for demonstrations for possible investors, maybe to customers, maybe family and friends, up to you. But really, this is just a starting point for you to see what OpenDAX can do overall. For testnets, now you would be getting into some real things. So you would get real transactions just happening in testnet on Girly network. And then for mainnet, it's the real deal. It's all the transactions would be going through mainnet, obviously. And for mainnet, you would need to perform some additional operations, technical operations, so that it's production ready. I would say it's secured with production grade tech. For that, we have a dedicated page. There is a link from the main article, but also you can find it directly on the left. It's mainnet post upgrades. It's rather simple. Here, you just need to deploy Vault, which is the security engine that we recommend to use, configure it to be used with a cloud key management service so that your data is encrypted the right way, the best way. And then you need to configure the signer component. So basically, that's the component that signs all the transactions in our stack. And it's also rather easy. You just need to create the KMS resources on the cloud and update it using the aforementioned tool, Helm. So if you have some experience with Kubernetes, it should be rather easy to do. If not, we provide access to many of our awesome partners, which could do it for you. They just connect to your machine and they do the magic. So yeah, that these are the main considerations. And soon I think we'll also release a dedicated video on how to set this up so that it's always clear and you can also do it yourself. So yeah, let's proceed. So here we'll go with testnet. For the disk type, you could go with the balanced one. You could go with SSD if you want more power. So that's what I always want. So yeah, let's go. And apart from that, again, all these steps are mentioned in the document. We should allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic. And also, after Yellow Network is released, you could also add some additional network tags, like the one mentioned here in the doc, to allow the traffic coming to the VM and coming from the VM for the Yellow Network. Though for now, it's not as important. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Really more speaking than doing things. So let's create. Now it will be creating. And while it's being created, we'll do the same via the CLI, the G-Cloud CLI. So you can find the documentation on the CLI installation in the second part of the article. So deploy using the CLI. It's rather simple. Here, you simply create a dedicated IP address if you'd like to, and we overall recommend it to be created for some long-term deployments. And then you simply specify the configurations the same way you did on the UI. Just here, it's kind of easier because you don't need to click on anything, just type it in and that's it. So that's the one I prefer. And apart from that, it's really the same stuff, just really the same configuration, the same commands compared to what we do in the UI part. So yeah, let's do that. So here I have this command ready. So it's really the same as in the browser, just in one line. We create our instance, put name. So the name is OpenDAX demo CLI. So let's do also 0. We specify the project, the machine type. So here I would even go with E2 standard 2, just to show you. We specify our network tags. Again, the third one is kind of optional. We specify our disk parameters. The most important one is the image. So again, the same formula. And with that, you don't really need us to share the image with you. It should already be available. And yeah, specify the zone. So good. Let's go. Here, if we switch to the UI, we'll see that the VM would be also created. Yep. So here we have our two VMs. They will take some time to set up. We can connect to one of them to see overall the setup process. Under the hood, as Alexander has mentioned, it's Kubernetes. So you can scale it also, since it's Kubernetes. So by default, we're starting with one node, which is the VM itself. If you'd like to, maybe for high availability reasons or something else, scale to multiple nodes, you can do that. We have a nice guide available at DAX Openware also. Really a lot of interesting things in DevOps guides here. We put a lot of time to really think through all the, let's say, custom experiences that you may need to do to improve your platform, harden it, customize it. And here we have the micro Kubernetes scaling process. Really straightforward. In 5 steps, you could get a scaled up cluster. Though at some point, I would say that if you've reached scale, when you need, for example, to scale beyond 2 to 3 nodes, it's better maybe to get a dedicated Kubernetes cluster, get a dedicated team, and deploy it using Helm. Because Helm is really what we recommend for big production installations. Okay, and when connecting to a machine, you can always check the status of the installation. You can always check what's happening overall in the installation by checking the logs of cluster service. So here you can see that we're installing micro Kubernetes. We're configuring the users for it. Then we're installing ingress controller, which is the main point of entry for the traffic into our system. We install Cert Manager, which manages our TLS certificates for HTTPS. And we import images and start all the services that we may need to have. So right now, the system is being set up. It's 50% readiness. And after it's done, on the deployment IP, we should see our platform. So here, after it's done, we could do slip.io. So right now, the platform is still setting up. So we'll wait for that. And yeah, overall, the stack we use inside of those VMs really mirrors what we use in production, and it shouldn't be hard for you to switch from, I would say, from a VM-based deployment to a dedicated Kubernetes cluster. So yeah. While we're waiting for the setup to complete, if you have any questions regarding the DevOps, I think we could go through them. Maybe if we have something gathered.
Actually, maybe we can briefly touch the topic of the licensing terms and costs for OpenDAX.
Yeah, I can answer on the question. So at the moment, everything that you need to start OpenDAX is to deploy it, or first you can follow. I would recommend you to go on openware.com, start Exchange form where you submit your application. You can deploy your platform. You can configure it, and at the end, when everything is ready, you will have 14 days to activate it. Activation will look very simple. You will need just to submit some basic information about your company and sign the agreement. At the moment, that's all. We will review your application. If everything good, we will activate you on the blockchain. At later stage, when the yellow token will be available on the market, you will be required to lock 250 yellow tokens. Those 250 yellow tokens are enabler. Like, to enable your platform, you need to log. Smart contract will look inside the logs. Okay, you have logged 250. Everything is good. You are activated automatically. At the moment, review will be manual, and activation also will be manual. Later, when the token will be released, you will be required to log 250. It's a basic to activate the platform. As a bonus, you will receive ability to connect for brokers or for nodes inside the yellow network. To have additional connection, you will just need to log more, additional 250 to have additional 4 channels.
I think the guy has mentioned a small correction. It's 250,000 yellow tokens.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, 250,000 tokens. It's not publicly available yet. I can say about date of public sale, but I hope it will be really soon. So we will have utility inside the yellow network for this token. Also, I see, Valentine, there is a question about database. If we migrated from MySQL to Postgres, can you help
Yes.
with it?
Yes, yeah. So right now in the stack we're using Postgres. So yeah, so for the time being, that's the main database. Maybe in the future we will also support MySQL, but for now, really, the whole stack is centered around Postgres. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, I can see a question about Fireblocks and BitGo. So I can say that at the moment we are using smart contract, but our idea to have integration with other different custody providers, with other solutions, payment gateways, and so on. It's just a question of time, because everything that you integrate into the system, you need to understand how to handle it, how to create unified flow. So at the moment, you cannot just simply introduce custody provider, because you will need to introduce system of user deposit generation, user address generation for depositing. At the moment, we don't have this, as a custody contract receive deposits directly. We authorize user by the wallet that he is using. So if you will need to integrate Fireblocks, we will need to add additional flow. So it will be introduced later, not at the moment.
Okay. How about the question, another question from Peter about for V4, has there been any benchmark testing for TPS?
Yeah, Valentine, can you help?
Yes. Yeah, for now we only tested the isolated order book components. We plan to set up like a huge deployment and test it in production-like setting. But for now, we just measured the order performance by itself. Again, we were doing small-scale testing, but I think reached like 100K per second. But overall, we will release the official numbers after we do the complete system benchmark.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Alexander. Are there any other costs apart from locking 250,000 yellow tokens, like a price for setting up an exchange or running it, etc.?
No, we don't charge it. You can contact our partners if you follow this web funnel process or start exchange process, and communicate with the partner. Or if you have your own team that capable deploying and maintaining, it's just your internal cost. We don't charge you additionally.
Okay, great. Now there's a clarification about using whether we need to use BitGo or Fireblocks for force version.
I can say that at the moment we don't need them, as we use custody contract. Later, if we will be able, when we will introduce integration with custody, yeah, you will be able to select BitGo or Fireblocks or someone else. Because for integrating custody provider, you will need separate infrastructure responsible for deposit withdrawal process from those sources. Because right now we are handling completely smart contract process. To integrate, it's another process that should be synchronized with existing one.
Okay. What is the indicative price for yellow tokens?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
not.
like mentions it, like more details on the pricing, etc., will be released closer to the product launch.
Yeah.
So we would advise everyone to just follow our official accounts on Telegram and stay tuned for the announcements. Moving to the next questions. Oh, let's talk about security. So what about security and legal part of this project? Also, I think before there was a question about whether we're somehow associated with FTX or Alameda.
No, we are not exposed to them. Yeah, so about security and legal part of it, when we do some new modules or we releasing new features, we are trying to do security testing, and when we do major releases, we also trying to go with security audits. So I don't have any reports yet. Probably when we will finish with that, we will provide this information. Regarding legal part of it, about like legal part of exchange, I can say that we do our due diligence of brokers that are joining. So you will need to provide some information about yourself, about your company. So we know that everyone is in the network will be kind of good behavior, like good guys, and we will not mess up, at least from the know your customer and know your business point of view.
Okay. Great. Should we go back to the deployment part for a couple of minutes? And then we will come back to answering the questions.
Yeah, so our platform is ready. So this is what you get after the installation is complete. Again, as per the documentation, to access it, you take the IP of the machine .sslip.io, and then it redirects you to the setup page on the first time. And after that, you as a platform admin would sign into the platform and start it. So for this, I think we could proceed to our next step of the presentation. Probably for the rest of the questions, I think we could answer them after we complete all our setup steps. So basically, yep. Yeah, that's the correct one, Andrew. So yeah, I'll stop my screen. So basically, that's all the setup you need to do from the technical side. So really, your only technical interactions for the testnet part is just to sign into the cloud provider, and yep, and then everything else is handled by you by the automated process, I would say. So here, I give the word to you, Andrew.
Yeah, hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Valentine. So, we're now on the fresh platform, which was just deployed by Valentine, and we can see the wizard here. To start, we need to log in first, and here we can see the email field. So let's input it here. Yep, and to continue the process, we need to accept the EULA and click sign up. Okay, the letter has been sent, and I will check on my inbox shortly. Copy the link and paste it here. Okay, we've been redirected to our platform with the session created, and now we can see the Connect Wallet button. Let's click on it and connect the MetaMask wallet. Here we should choose MetaMask. Yep, wallet is connected. And we are basically on the first wizard step now, where we can deploy our custody smart contract. And here we can see the testnet mode indicator, which tells us in which mode we are working on right now. And it depends on the Packer image that you've choose to deploy. So in the drop-down menu, we should choose the network that we're going to deploy a custody on. We have only one option now, since it's a testnet mode. And in a testnet, we have only Goerli network. So let's click deploy. Yeah, here we can see a new transaction, contract deployment. Let's click confirm. And smart contract is being deployed. So deployment process consists of the three steps. First one is the smart contract deployment itself. Second one is smart contract setup. And the last one is brokerage registry. So registry is the step where the platform is being registered as a yellow network participant. Yep. Here we can see the second step began. It's setup. Click confirm. Yep, and we also have a retry logic here in case some transaction is failed or whatever, just to be safe. We will need to wait a couple of, yep. And the last transaction is registering a brokerage. We also confirm that. And it will take a while to process. So basically, yeah, the wizard is developed to simplify the process for the broker, or even for just some users that has our Docker image, so that in a few clicks and a few steps, everyone can configure and deploy their own platform. Once it will be finished, we will be able to click continue button, and yeah, here we can see all the transactions hashes that we might be interested in. Also, we can redirect to the Etherscan or some other explorer. And here is the tip that we have 14 days of trial period. Yep. So we can click continue button. Yep, and everything has been deployed and configured. We are redirected to OpenDAX user UI. We are all set. The platform is ready for usage, and I think that's it for my part of the stream. So now we can switch to the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrew. So yeah, coming back to the questions. Is yellow liquidity available after simple company information is provided? I guess it's a question about the KYC and joining the yellow network.
At the moment, yellow network is not live, so you will be required to provide this information just to activate OpenDAX.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will it be possible to use V4 without the yellow network, without joining the network?
I think it's a custom use case and probably for enterprise customers. So as I mentioned before, you will be required to log 250k yellow tokens to enable to activate platform. It doesn't mean that we are pushing you to use yellow network. So it's kind of a way to turn on the platform. But for enterprise customers, of course, we can discuss the case when they can completely develop a platform without even need to log anything. But it's for enterprise.
All right. Thanks a lot. Is it easy to upgrade to the new version for customers who have been using the previous versions of OpenDAX?
I think like suggested way would be to deploy a new one because we are using a different architecture and it's cheaper and faster to start from scratch.
Okay. That makes sense. How user friendly is this project? I believe it's a question that's not going to be visible in the chat anymore, but it's one of the questions that were asked earlier. Like, are there any tools or extensions available for non-technical brokers, or do you necessarily need like some team to help you with the setup?
As you've seen, we showed you Wizard. So it's a new thing that we introduced recently, like probably last or previous release, that helps non-technical broker to do the main setup, but still to configure to add something new, you will need some technical knowledge or at least to read our documentation. It shouldn't be difficult, but when you go into production, we recommend you to have a partner or proper team that can handle security stuff, because setting some configs or exposing some secrets on your platform can lead to disaster. So it's better to be
Yeah, and specifically for that, we are providing a vast network of partners that know our stack and that are ready to help with most use cases. So for sure, that's what we recommend.
Yeah, additionally, mentioning about partners, let me show you. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm. So here's what I was mentioning before. Our main official website. On official website, you can click Start an Exchange, and here you will have a form where we will guide you through the questions, steps, and you will be able to select partner that can help you, like delivering your product. So please, everyone who is interested, who doesn't have a proper team, you can submit your application. This application will be reviewed, and you will be contacted by the partner. Or if you don't select partner, you will just have some further instruction how to do. So it's a way for you to start working with OpenDAX. Of course, you can deploy it from marketplace, cloud marketplace, but the recommended way to go through this funnel. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Moving forward to the next questions. So, a couple are architectural ones. So, is frontend still built on React and Sonic?
It's Next.js and Next.js. Yeah, it's Next.js. So React and Sonic was used in previous version, and we rebuilt our system. So we use Next.js. Maybe other technologies, Valentine or Entry.
No, it's for the front end. It's Next.js, and this time basically kind of like the previous time, but still we are providing a web SDK that we used to and we keep using to build our default front ends. So basically, with the web SDK that we publish, you can either do something similar to what we did or do something completely different. But really, as they say, we eat our own dog food, so we use this web SDK in our development. So now all the front end code that you may need, it's available publicly, even right now.
Yeah. And it's very user friendly. We have kind of storybook that you can go and check and click manually from the website. This link to storybook, we placed it in docs OpenDAX, openware.com. In our release notes, you can easily find it.
Okay, thank you so much. What blockchain is the custody and clearing smart contract deployed on? If it's deployed on one blockchain, can it do the custody and clearing for other blockchains, or does it need to be deployed on each blockchain separately?
About custody and clearing, I think it will be deployed on the one blockchain. But the process of clearing will happen on a different blockchain. So custody, yeah, you will need to deploy on each blockchain that you will join, or you want to have access to. But clearing, we want to place on the single blockchain and keep state there. So you're keeping the state of your all connections. Also, we keep their collateral. And when we settle, we just update information on the single blockchain.
All right. Moving forward, what are the transactional fees for getting liquidity from Yellow Network? And can users put to work an outside bot for market making?
Yeah, the idea of Yellow Network is that everyone will be able to connect to counterparty, and it's a question of your counterparty. What will he charge from you? Like if you agreed to have some minimum fee, this fee that you will pay to your counterparty. Like we want to make it like taker pays to maker. And additionally to that, at the end of the day, when you will need to settle your funds, yellow network will charge some percentage fee from this settlement amount. You need to pay attention that it's not charged from the whole amount that you traded. So the less you settle at the end, like the more netted your position, the lower you will pay at the end to the yellow network. And those funds will be used to develop, to extend, to bring new plugins, to do new integrations. I don't think it will be like some big fees, and it will be fees on the settlement amount, not the traded amount.
All right, that's very clear. Can users connect other liquidity providers to OpenDAX?
We need to kind of understand it more clear, like other liquidity providers. Yeah, you can connect someone who is integrated with OpenDAX who can provide liquidity, but it's your custom question. Like if this liquidity provider needs integration, yeah, then you need to build integration. If this liquidity provider capable to do integration like right away without need to do technical sprints or so on, yeah, so it depends on the liquidity provider that you are selecting.
Yeah, really, the API is there and it's ready for integrations. Just again, the integration, you would most likely need to do it by yourself. So.
Okay, and actually to come back to the previous question about the transaction costs, is it possible to customize the charge so that users make profit?
If it's possible to customize trading fees inside the platform, or
Yeah, I would assume so.
yeah, I think it's possible to define trading fees, but at the moment we don't have extended levels of fees. Like depends on your trading volume. We don't support at the moment this functionality, but definitely it's something that we are interested in to bring in the future.
All
At the
right.
moment, you just can configure one level that will be to all users, I would say.
Okay. More technical ones. So there's a couple questions about having errors with backend after installation, and also
Is it the one about Vault? Maybe you can highlight it.
yeah, there was, and as another question was about facing issues with vault permissions, and whether we have better implementations for this issue in the OpenDAX V4.
Yeah, so basically in V4, to simplify the installation, we don't even include Vault in demo and testnet deployments. So as you have seen here, I didn't do any operations with Vault while installing the stack, and it would work just fine without that. For mainnet, you would need to install Vault. You simply cannot get around that. But again, here we documented the whole process of the installation of Vault itself and all the operations with it. And I would say, even if you have any issues with Vault, you could get help from our partners, because Vault is a really critical part of the system. You need to have it secured, you need to have it properly configured, because otherwise the platform is not really production grade. So I would say for the initial stages of the project, you shouldn't have any issues with Vault because it's not there. So yeah.
All right. Very. Is Vote open source and free?
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, everyone can deploy it and use instruction to configure it on our docs.openware.com website.
Okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to intervene a bit. I see a question from Volodymyr. So he's asking about backend issues also, not the ones that are related to Vault. So the one I'm seeing in the chat is most likely related to the fact that Rinkaby was shut down after the merge, and basically after the switch to POS. And the fact is that our older versions, like the alpha versions of the stack, they were using Rinkaby as the sorry, I'm hearing some echo. Yeah, he's still hearing. But anyway, we're using Rikubai as our network, and because of that, alpha platforms they just could not connect to the blockchain. In the newer versions, we use Gurley for testnet and well mainnet for mainnet respectively. So normally, if you deploy the current version, the one I used on the presentation, you should be fine. So yeah.
Thanks a lot. Let's move to the next question. One of the older ones. So, what will be the Ethereum's EVM compatibility to OpenDAX v4? And now, like the question mentioned, since it's open source, will you guys allow the contribution from third-party developers? But if I'm understanding correctly, it's not going to be open source, right?
At the moment, it's not open source. Yeah. Yeah, we will see and decide later.
Okay, and about the Ethereum's EVM compatibility to OpenDAX v4?
Yeah, right now we're compatible with Ethereum, like it's the main network that we support at the moment. And later we will introduce support for EVM compatible chains. And the third step will be integration with all existing blockchains, like protocol to integrate other blockchains, not just EVM compatible. But integration won't happen fast. Like it's IT, and in IT you always have some hidden troubles that you face during the integrations.
All right. Moving forward, what will OpenDAX v4 allow brokers to create hyperledger and exchanges, like both of them?
We are not building product for creating blockchains. If you are asking about integration with those blockchains, I think probably it's better to do with our partners. I don't think that we are planning to do this integration in the nearest future. If you are talking about Hyperledger, it's not so popular like on the mass market, I would say on the retail. Of course, maybe it's popular between some enterprise, but yeah, let's see. You can contact us and we will review your request.
All right. One of the last question: what is the OpenDAX image we should use to install a GCP on Google Cloud?
Sorry, could you repeat, please? GCP and Google Cloud.
What is the OpenDAX image we should use to install it on?
Yeah, but that's the one. If you watch the recording, you'll see it's the one we used is 4.0.17. But on docs.openware.com, you can check the release notes. You can find the latest available stable version. So, yeah, you can just follow the instructions in docs.openware.com, and you will see the correct image.
And I want to point once again, as was mentioned before, we have 3 types of Packer images. It's mainnet, testnet, and demo mod. So let me explain you a bit purpose of them. So demo mod is everything that is deployed without any interaction with blockchain. Even testnet blockchain is for the case when you need to show your investors or someone that you're working on this product. Here is like basic functionality and your plan, what you want to introduce, what you want to bring. Testnet case is the case where you're testing everything that you implemented and you deploy mainnet if everything is ready on your testnet deployment. Also want to mention about testnet that as we switch to Gurley, this blockchain doesn't have much faucets for tokens. So we recommend for you to deploy or to find some custom tokens, get them on your balance and add this through admin panel. How to add this, you can find on our official documentation website.
All right, thank you so much. I would also like to ask all the visitors to ask, or all the viewers to ask more technical questions. We have a few left, and then we will answer some of the more generic ones. So What are your security measures or algorithms requiring the leveraging, since the product will leverage all the terminals like state channels, Web3, and DeFi blockchain technologies together?
Yeah, if you're talking about leverage inside the network, I wouldn't call this leverage. I would call this more collateral. Collateral with some risk parameter. This risk parameter will be defined later when we will release Yellow Network. Basically, to have to be able to trade or to be exposed to 1,000 USD value, you need to put like 300 USD value as a collateral. It's an example. But inside the platform OpenDAX, you will not be able to do any leverage trading. So with pure simple spot trading. Only when the Yellow Network will be released, we will announce what will be the requirements for collateral.
Okay. Will V4 support NFTs?
No, it's not supporting NFT at the moment, but I think it's something that can be brought by your specific project. So OpenDAX is a base for creating your crypto business, crypto exchanges. Everyone can come and build additional services. He can extend, provide new services. Actually, that's why we are having this idea of Yellow Network that will interconnect everyone. So we interested not only in big names, we are also interested in specific purpose exchanges with the specific local exchanges to have access to all exotic tokens, to have access to all the regions. So the idea is, if you have something interesting to bring to propose for community, yeah, you go build, you connect, and promote yourself.
Great answer. Where could I find about like deep dive info security on ingresses?
Yeah, so if you just want to see how it's secured and so on, you can always just type nginx ingress controller, and you will see the documentation that they provide. But in our case, it's really a classic setup. It's an ingress controller that's secured by TLS certificates generated by Service Manager. And on top, we also recommend to use Cloudflare to have the SSL connection between Cloudflare and your ingress controller also. And yeah, it's just TLS 1.3. And yeah, just the typical production setup, I would say. And also in our setup, we enable a few nice features that enable better incoming traffic monitoring, like properly recording client data, so that later you could easily find fraudulent traffic. So
right.
overall, if you just follow our recommendation in our config files, the ones we provide in docs.openware.com, you should be fine.
Okay, thank you so much. Where can users find the newest images, as they're not listed under the Openware Dev organization Google Cloud?
Yeah, as I mentioned, those images are not listed anywhere. Overall, they're only available if you're deploying your VM via CLI. If you'd like to deploy your installation, your platform from a VM image from the UI, from the Cloud Console, you should get in touch with us, and we will share the the VM image with you, with your project.
That's why we recommend to follow Webfunnel.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you can also use AWS Marketplace. There, you don't need to do anything. I mean, you don't need to do anything from our or wait for anything from our side. You just deploy it, and that's it. So it's really just the limitations of the platform.
Great, thank you so much. Can you talk more about the 14 days activation period?
Yeah, so as you heard, later when the yellow token will be available, you will be required to log those tokens in order to activate your platform. At the moment, we don't have yellow token released, so we defined another mechanism how to activate platform and like how to actually make it, how to enable all the functionality available in the system. What I'm talking about is that if you will not pass activation steps during 14 days, system just simply will stop working and you will not be able to trade, deposit, withdraw, and so on. It's a way for us to promote yellow network, I would say. Because giving for free OpenDAX exchange doesn't bring our benefits. But as you can see, we already spent a lot of time defining and building this product. It's not so easy to build something from scratch. And those process of activation is just a way how we want you to join and how we see you in the network. Of course, if you want to have something custom, you can purchase the enterprise license and do whatever you want. But if you're just joining and want to use it for free, you need to lock. Locking tokens doesn't mean that they belong to us. You still will be able to unlock and get them back, but platform will stop working.
All right, thanks a lot. In the meantime, I would like to invite everyone to subscribe to our YouTube. We'll have more. Yeah, that's like the best place to learn information about our project. Let me ask a couple more questions, and I guess then we will be wrapping up. So, one more question from Peter. What is the status of the yellow liquidity network?
As I mentioned before, right now we are finalizing architecture and finalizing proof of concept. We expect to have something working till the end of the year, like to test it internally, and hopefully, first quarter of the next year, we will give private access to our clients, like to test it without general announcement, without availability for general public. And only after that, after some testing, you will be able to join it as a regular broker.
Do you need to be a broker to stake yellow tokens?
I would say that this question under discussion, because at the moment we don't have a product that you can use. We don't have a product that you can use as a regular user, as a not broker. Later, maybe we will introduce some services that you will be able to provide and lock yellow tokens. But at the moment, we see you as a broker, as someone who can open a company, do legal business, and so on. So it's our main focus, but still, this question is under discussion, how we can involve our retail kind of users inside the network, how they can benefit, how can they provide liquidity. The idea was to create some light version of OpenDAX where general users can deploy it with one click and put money to provide liquidity inside the network, benefiting from the matches inside the network. But still, to do this light version, it will require same time. So we mainly focused on yellow network and OpenDAX. We can't hear. I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It seems like, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So it took more than a year to finally release the product. What kind of struggles has team faced?
Yeah, good question. It took a year because we built the product from scratch. So it's not as it was before with the version V3, V2, where we just improved, added additional functionality. It's something that we redefined starting from zero. Like Phoenix was rebuilt. We added all the functionality that was available in P2 inside the Phoenix. And when you're doing such major changes, when you are changing your stack and your global vision, it requires some time and research. If we would have kind of clear task with all the specs, yeah, it could be faster. But when you're doing researches, you always have some new inputs, you have something happening on the market, new technologies, new trends that you need to incorporate in your vision and adjust your strategy. So IT is a bit unpredictable domain, so you should be aware that it's not so simple to build your product in 1 or 2 months. You should really put some efforts.
To be clear about previous question about transactional fees, taker exchange would be paying to a maker exchange. Also, how do you prevent exchanges from charging exorbitant fees?
Didn't get the last part of the question. How to
I guess
prevent?
it's like how do we whether we limit the rates that exchanges can set as their fees.
I think no, because they will negotiate on the connection. So when you want to connect to someone, it doesn't mean that you will be able to connect right away. You will have a negotiation mechanism like a handshake where you agreed on the fees, maybe some additional rules. So if you are big exchange, you will have maybe kind of higher fees. If you are a small exchange, probably you will have lower fees connecting with other exchanges. So it's a free market, and everyone defines how much his liquidity costs.
Okay, great. All right. Now there's a question about where some more technical questions can be asked about the platform installation. So let me share a link to, I guess, the Openware chat, and I guess there, like, you can ask your technical question. Moving forward, I guess that will be the last question. So, what differentiates OpenDAX V4 among similar projects?
I think the main benefits, like the main strong part of our product, is that it exists in the global vision. It's not just a product for creating exchange. It's a product that will serve to enable yellow network, global vision of unlocking and sharing liquidity. So if you want to be part of this network, if you want to follow the trend like evolution of crypto, you should use OpenDAX. Of course, you can use your own custom exchange, but it's a question of time when you will be able to join, when you will be able to integrate. You see, in the classic financial market, there was also those steps when exchanges existed independently. Later, they defined a protocol. Later, they had ECNs, electronic communication networks, and we trying to do exactly the same. We're trying to build electronic communication network, but for crypto, introducing this protocol that enable connection of different participants. But it's like gradual process. First, we will introduce this for OpenDAX product. Later, we will introduce this for general crypto industry.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks to all the people who joined us today for the stream. There's been more than 2,000 of you. It's really great. We're looking forward to asking more questions in the respective chats. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube and also join our Telegram channels to be the first one to get more news and updates. And thank you so much, Alexander, Andrei, and Valentine. It was a
Thank you.
great
Thank
session.
you. Our pleasure.
Thank you too.
everyone have a great day, I suppose, and see you soon.
Level, subscribe.